engines with great gasoline. Go Pirates!
Eastern Pines Dental, located on East 10th Street beside Lowe's in Greenville, provides complete dental care to all ages, including implants, root canals, crowns, wisdom teeth removal, IV sedation, Invisalign, and much more. And as Eastern Pines continues to grow, we've added caring and kind doctors ready to assist you, including Dr. Ward, Dr. Lovick, Dr. Moore, and Dr. Mosley. Call 751-0770 to schedule your appointment today. The staff of Eastern Pines Dental thanks you for trusting them with your dental care.
This is Dr. McGraw from Orthopedics East and Sports Medicine Center. Our practice has been caring for the athletes at ECU and the residents of Eastern North Carolina for more than 35 years. Whether it's treatment for your sports injury or it's time for that joint replacement, Orthopedics East provides the latest in operative and non-operative orthopedic care. We also offer on-site physical therapy and MRI services as well as walk-in urgent care on the weekends from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. For experienced and professional care, call us at 757-BONE or visit us online at orthoeast.com. Go Pirates!
Hey Pirate Nation, this is Holt Nailers for my friends at ArcPoint Labs. Just as I trust my teammates, you can trust ArcPoint Labs to give you quick and accurate results for your laboratory testing needs. ArcPoint Labs provides insights and solutions to enable individuals, businesses, and communities to make informed decisions on their health, safety, and well-being. Visit any of the 6 Eastern North Carolina ArcPoint Labs locations or go to arcpointlabs.com. Go Pirates!
Are you looking for a home loan? Look no further than Amy Goss at Guild Mortgage. Since 1960, Guild Mortgage has partnered with industry professionals to close loans on time and help millions of Americans realize their dreams. Call Amy Goss at Guild Mortgage in Jacksonville, 910-389-4602. Amy Goss is licensed in Florida, Georgia, Maine, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Guild Mortgage Company, Equal Housing Opportunity, NMLS 3274. NMLSconsumeraccess.org / for licensing information, please visit guildmortgage.com / licensing. Guild Mortgage is not affiliated with Pirate Radio.
Hi, this is Jeff Charles, and welcome inside the booth. November is busy, busy, busy. I'll have some thoughts right after this. Just like Pepsi, Jira Wilson from Jacksonville, born in Eastern Carolina.
This is Landon Minges with Minges Bottling Group. I'm the 4th generation of my family to have the honor of distributing Pepsi-Cola products to my neighbors in Eastern North Carolina. For over 75 years, my family has taken pride in this great responsibility, and we are proud to have remained locally owned and operated for over 7 decades. When you purchase a Pepsi in Eastern North Carolina, you are supporting your community and keeping those dollars right here in your own backyard. Support local, drink Pepsi. Go Pirates.
Any college play-by-play announcer will tell you that November is the most hectic time of the year. Football and basketball overlap. Take ECU's schedule for Exhibit A. The Pirates will play 3 football games and 8 basketball games this month. 2 of the 3 football games are on the road at Cincinnati on November the 11th and at Temple on November the 26th. The basketball schedule finds 4 games at home and 4 games on the road. The week of November 20th will find 5 games in 6 days. 4 basketball games, including 3 games in 3 days at the Gulf Coast Showcase just outside Fort Myers, a road game at ODU in Norfolk on November the 26th, and the same day the Pirates are at the Lincoln Philly to take on the Temple Owls on the gridiron. It just so happens I will miss just 1 basketball broadcast this year, and that is a rarity. Come on back next time and we'll visit inside the booth.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the pirate nation. This is Eastern Carolina's longest-running sports radio show. The Brian Bailey Show is on the air. The Brian Bailey Show is powered by Greenville Utilities and also brought to you by
Angus Grill, Bostic Sugg Furniture, Bojangles, East Coast Grading, Papa John's, Pepsi, The Rick House, Greenville Utilities, BMS Builders, Seared Chop House, The Gavigan Agency, Taft and Hagler, Tiebreakers, and Greenville Auto World.
And now, here's Brian Bailey.
Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Victory Monday. East Carolina winning that thriller up in Philadelphia, 49-46 over the Temple Owls. Pirates finished the regular season at 7-5. Next up is the bowl game, and we don't know where the Pirates are going to play. We've got some ideas, and we're going to share those with you coming up in just a bit. Malcolm Gray joins us, our good friend over at Sports Information. His first season as the Sports Information Director at East Carolina, taking over for the legend Tom McClellan. So we'll have some thoughts with him coming up on the season and where the Pirates might play play in the bowl game, and it's all coming up for you right after this.
This isn't your regular cola, so this isn't your regular cola ad. No beach parties or family barbecues here, just Nitro Pepsi, the first cola ever infused with nitrogen. So forget everything you thought you knew about soda, because that nitrogen gives us a whole new experience. Think an infusion of smaller bubbles for a cola that's got a lighter, smoother texture. And don't get me started on the pour. You don't pour this like any other cola. We're talking turn the can completely upside down and watch as those bubbles cascade into the glass to create a frothy, luxurious foam topping. Can your cola do that? I didn't think so. Unless you've got your own Nitro Pepsi, in which case cheers to your great taste. Because you already know that the only thing better than the pour is the unapologetic cola taste. What else is there to say? From the creamy foam to the smooth texture to its unbelievably delicious flavor, this is cola like you've never had it before. Time to bring your taste buds to the next frontier. Nitro Pepsi. Smooth, creamy, delicious.
It seems like places are giving you less and less food these days.
Yes, Mama, it's called shrinkflation. Oh, shrinkflation, that's just another word for robbery. But this is shackflation. What? Dang, that's huge. Extra pepperoni, extra cheese on that thing.
Hey, Pirate fans, Papa John's is the MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza. Go Pirates.
BMS Builders is your premier custom builder in eastern North Carolina. With homes in Blackwood, Mills Creek, Dalton's Cove and Farmville, and Belmar and Ayden, they're constantly expanding. Now to Laurel Glen and Sarah's Way, plus the new duplex community at Abigail Trails. BMS Builders can build the home of your dreams. Just ask Dr. Dennis Ross in Greenville or ECU football coach Mike Houston. They built their homes, and they can build yours as well. Call 916-1578 for BMS Builders.
Greenville Utilities electric customers will soon be able to receive text notifications in the event of power outages. Enrollment is automatic, so make sure GUC has your cell phone number by signing into your account at GUC.com, then update the information in your user profile. Want to talk with someone instead? Call 252-752-7166 during business hours. 252-752-7166. Update us so we can update you. Visit GUC.com for more information.
This is John Gavigan with the Gavigan Agency. Our top priority is doing what is best for our members. Whether you are buying a new vehicle, a new home, protecting your family with life insurance, or filing a claim, our agency will be there every step of the way. Our goal is to become a trusted advisor for you and your family for all of your personal and commercial insurance needs. Give us a call in Greenville at 756-1400 for a car, home, business, or life insurance quote today, and give us the opportunity to show you the benefits of doing business with someone who cares.
Pirate Radio.
It's important to me that we're able to connect the past, the tradition of East Carolina football, our current roster, and the future of what this program is going to be.
The voice of the Pirate Nation. You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, providing reliable utility solutions to the Greenville region since 1905. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show on this Monday. We're going to talk bowl games. We're going to talk about the 2022 college football season for this East Carolina Pirate football team. Malcolm Gray, assistant AD at East Carolina for Media Relations, joins us. And Malcolm, first of all, congratulations on a job well done all year, man. It's your first year of football, and you did a great job.
Oh, I appreciate it. It was difficult. It was fun, but I appreciate all the help that you guys do and all the media does to help support our players and coaches.
What I'd like to do is get you to tell us who the big pains are in the media, but I know you can't do that because you got to work with them.
They're all good. Everybody's good.
Yeah, everybody's good. You may be sitting by the biggest pain, but when you look at what you were expecting this job to be, has it been pretty much what you thought it would be? You were in the department, you worked with football, so you kind of knew a little bit about it, a lot of it about it probably.
Yeah, no, it was what I thought it was going to be. I mean, there's a lot more meetings and a lot more things that I'm involved with than what I was in previous years as being the number 2 for football. But it's just a lot of the day-to-day grind, and literally it's Groundhog Day. You get through the first week, then it's the same thing each week. Each road week is the same. Each home week is the same. So you get into a routine. What really gets a little hectic is when you have other sports that are starting, because also we're responsible for a couple other sports. now overseeing a department, making sure our new employees are working with the coaches and things like that. So that's just, it's a lot of time management more than anything.
And, you know, it's funny because it's a business trip when you go on the road with Pirate football. I mean, basically, that's what, you know, you get on that plane about 1 o'clock on a Friday, and then, you know, you're back. This time we were back relatively early. We had some late nights where we were back, you know, early in the morning on Saturday morning, but they're business trips. And for me personally, now you guys have been doing it for a long, long time, a lot of you guys. This is the second year I got to travel, and I'm telling you, it's one of the best things that's happened in my career. I really enjoy going and really enjoy being around the team and seeing how everything, you know, the process that takes place on a road game is really neat.
Yeah, it really is. And for me, I like it because, you know, I was able to travel last year solo, and then this year. So a lot of the players know me. And this year it was an opportunity for me to be able to talk to the players a little bit more. You see them around in the hallways of the hotel, you know, right before pregame, afterwards, and I get a chance to talk to them and get a chance to know their families when they come by the locker room and things like that. So it is very neat, and, you know, once we land back in Greenville, if it's a late Saturday, early Sunday, I'm, you know, maybe getting 3-4 hours sleep, and then I'm back in the office getting ready for the next week.
Yeah, and that's how it goes. It flies by, doesn't it?
It does. It flies by.
It's a blur. We're going to take a look back at the season coming up in just a bit, but I think what most people want to talk about are the bowl possibilities for East Carolina, and there's nothing set in stone. You see all kinds of bowl projections. You see them, you know, they start putting those things out in September, I think, and you really can't tell what's going on. But what we do know the bowls that the American is contracted with, and we know pretty much the possibilities for East Carolina as far as the bowls go. So what we think right now, I think, and speaking for most people, everybody on the trip this weekend thought that, you know, and that's just anybody thinking. It may have been just one person thought it and told everybody, and everybody decided to go with it.
Yeah.
But we all tend to think that the Wasabi Fenway Bowl is the one that the Pirates are going to end up at. That's in Boston, Mass. That's going to be the first time that bowl has ever been played, because they've had a couple of years where they had COVID and they had a cancellation. So this would be the first ever if the Pirates get to that bowl game. Wasabi is not what you think. Wasabi is a communications type cloud storage type company. It's not the hot sauce.
It's not the hot sauce, correct.
But it's based on. I mean, they've got a look about it. But that's what the Wasabi Fenway Bowl is, Boston, Massachusetts, and that's an early bowl. That one's December 17th. So the team would probably leave sometime around the 11th or 12th to go up for the bowl activities. Now, what we don't know is how many bowl activities they're going to have at each one of these bowls and that kind of thing. But that kind of dictates it. The bowl will tell you, hey, we want you up here on this date.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. You know what they'll do is they'll tell you what's going on, and some of them are, you know, 3-day deals. Some of them, like what we've had in the past, like in Birmingham in one year, the Liberty Bowl a couple years, it was almost a week event. So you get down there, you practice in the mornings, then you got things in the afternoons and evenings, and there is downtime and stuff like that. But right now, you know, we don't know where we're going. I would tend to agree with you. Looking at all the projections earlier this morning, a lot of people have us going to, you know, the Fenway Bowl and playing a team from the ACC. The good thing about it is it's a December 17th game. It's a Saturday. It's also an 11 a.m. game, so it's the first game that day.
Yes, it is.
So if that is where you go, it's a good destination. It's probably going to be a little chilly. But, you know, you can go there. You can go get the game in, hopefully come out with a win. And then you come back, and then it gives the coaches a couple more days to prep for signing day, which is on the 21st.
All right, we'll take your questions and comments, too, on our Facebook Live feed if you have any. John writes in and says, will there be an official hotel for fans for the bowl game, wherever the bowl game is? And most of the time, the bowl games do have an official fan hotel. They'll have a team hotel for sure, and sometimes it's the same hotel, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes it is, and they'll typically have a media one as well. So, yeah, there should be one. And, you know, unfortunately, we don't know as of yet what bowl. I know last year for the Military Bowl, that's exactly what they had. And, you know, they want to be able to get as many fans as they can to come to see the game, whether it's, you know, East Carolina or its opponent.
Okay, so those projections today, a couple of folks had Syracuse against East Carolina. Syracuse, of course, from the Atlantic Coast Conference, and East Carolina representing the American Athletic Conference. When you look at the Pirates, and something that Mike Houston said over the weekend to us, and he said it to the team, that the victory over Temple put them, he said, in a better bowl situation. So what that tells me is that he's been told that would put them in a different tier. And I think that when you look at what's going on right now, Now, if Cincinnati's out there, I think the military would love to have Cincinnati if they can't get East Carolina.
Yeah, I would agree with that. By getting the win, it gives you 7 wins on the season versus when we beat Temple. But you're more attractive for a 7-win team, so you kind of get a chance. There might be 2 or 3 bowls that are actually looking at you, and then all of a sudden they might come back and say, well, okay, we got these 3 bowls. Which one do you want to go to? And they work from that way. If it would have been a loss on Saturday, you're 6-6. Then you're towards the bottom tier, and they're going to say, well, this is all that's left, so this is where you're going to go. That's what I understand.
And the old days of the bowls, the bowls would send representatives. I remember in '91 when the Pirates were on that roll, man, they were bowl reps from all over the place. They wore their jackets, their colorful jackets in the press box, and they would walk around and hand you stickers and hand you pins of their bowls. And but they don't do it anymore because everything's tied in with the conference.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think 2, maybe 3 years right before we got the new press box, I think it was probably the last time we actually had bowl representatives that came in. So it's been a while since I've seen them in the press box, that's for sure.
Okay, so the bowl affiliations for the American Athletic Conference, the Military Bowl, of course, East Carolina was there last year against Boston College. The game was not played because of COVID issues with the Boston College program, which was a shame. The Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth, Texas, and the Independence Bowl, and that's in Shreveport, Louisiana. All of those bowls are before Christmas with the exception of the Military Bowl, which is December the 28th. Last year, and if it is the Military Bowl, last year the Pirates spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day at the Military because the 27th was the bowl. Correct. The 26th was a Sunday, and Saturday was Christmas the 25th. This year it would be the 28th, and I don't know if the Pirates would go up Christmas Eve, if they hold them off a day. We'll have to wait and see if that happens, but that's all conjecture right now because the word is that perhaps the Fenway Bowl is the destination, but nothing official at all. And it's just a bunch of guys just kind of looking at it. And I think in our case, we've talked about this, is that Fenway Park, I've always wanted to see it. Yeah. I'd like to see the Red Sox play in it. I don't think they're going to have a scrimmage while we're there or anything. But the Fenway, just the Fenway experience would be cool, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm a huge Red Sox fan, and I think me and you and Brian Meadle were all talking about it this weekend. I mean, I would love it, just to be able to have access, to be able to walk around to different places in the stadium that, fans don't get a chance to do, and then, go, maybe get into the Green Monster, get on top of the Green Monster, just walk around on such hallowed grounds. For me as a Red Sox fan, that'd be great.
And you think about the Fenway Bowl, and the projections here says Syracuse. I thought Duke would be a better matchup. I think Duke would be a better matchup for Pirate fans, but I can see where you look at Syracuse because they're up north. And one thing the American says is that when they're selecting bowl participants, they do look at the region. They try to put you in a region, and I think that's why you see UCF a lot of time in the state of Florida because there are a couple of bowls down there, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think it probably also helps with the travel situation. I know for traveling with baseball in years past to regionals and super regionals and things like that, they try to keep you somewhere close because if it goes over a certain mileage, then the NCAA has to jump in and pay a little bit to help offset the expense. But, and I can see that. I've seen leading up to this week, I've seen Wake Forest, I've seen Duke, I've seen Louisville, and now I've seen Syracuse.
Right. Those are that's 4.
Those are potential 4 for the Fenway Bowl. And to be honest with you, any of those.
You may see Clemson before long if they keep. They have fallen.
They have, but any of those will be fine. I mean, we 2 of them, basically in the same state as East Carolina. Then you have, Syracuse, which we have a rich tradition of playing against in years past, and then obviously Louisville being a former Conference USA affiliate.
Yeah, it'd be all great matchups. So where the confusion comes in, I think, as far as the bowl games are concerned, and we did have somebody just wrote in, I'll go back to it in just a second, that wanted to know when the official announcement. The official announcements will coming up on Sunday afternoon when they start, going down through the whole thing. Is that correct to say?
From what I understand, yes. It'll be done on ESPN, and they'll have their bowl day stuff. Typically, what they do is they do the big CFP bowls. They do those first, the New Year's 6 bowls, and then they talk about those for a lot. And then I think you can flip over to ESPN too, and then they'll start rounding out other bowls and things like that. But official announcement, I would think would come on Sunday, unless for some reason whatever bowl selects us, they decide they want to go ahead and make their announcement, and then we would work with whoever we're playing against and the bowl to
and there's also the chance that it'll leak out beforehand, because that's a good possibility, because not only do you have our local media trying to get with the local people at East Carolina to try to figure out when the game is, who they're playing, that kind of thing, but then you have the national media trying to do all the bowl games, so they're trying to break that story as well, so it could break either way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, right before we came on, we talked about, one of the bowl projections, someone had us going to Myrtle Beach playing Middle Tennessee State. Well, Brett McMurphy tweeted out that sources have already said San Diego State and Middle Tennessee are going to play each other in the Hawaii Bowl. So if that's the case, then you turn right around. Well, the projection that this person had ESPN with us playing Middle Tennessee State, well, now that's not correct.
Right.
So yeah, there are things like that. I mean, they've got a job to do, and ideally we like to keep everything if we know in-house, so that way we can get everything prepared, and that way phones aren't flooded with questions and things like that. We have everything ready on the back end, hit live, and then fans have everything that they need right there, so they're not waiting for a long time trying to get a hold of, say, a ticket representative or someone maybe from our office regarding hotels and things like that. So we like to try to get everything done ahead of time, so that way when it does go live, boom, we can hit it and we can go.
All right, now the confusing part is that the American has 3 selections from a group of 8 bowls, and it can kind of bounce around, and that's why you'll hear somebody say, "Well, I think the Pirates could go to the Cure Bowl," and then somebody says, "Well, the Cure Bowl is not part of the American situation." Well, yes, it is, and it isn't. I mean, they have a chance to get 3 selections from 8 bowls.
Yeah, basically what it comes down to, and like the Birmingham one, Birmingham, I believe, is a ACC. SEC game, but there could be a chance where there's not enough ACC teams or there's not enough SEC teams. So therefore, that's where the 3rd selection, from what I understand, comes in from. Just like the Myrtle Beach Bowl, it's not directly tied to the American, but if I think the Southern Conference or the Sun Belt and then whoever else are supposed to be playing, does not have enough teams, well then boom, East Carolina could go there because they could be a really big draw.
Those 8 bowls, the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl on December the 21st, or 27th rather, in Birmingham. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa, Florida. That's December 23rd. The ServPro First Responder Bowl, and that's December 27th in Dallas, Texas. The RoofClaim.com Bowl in Boca Raton, Florida. And the Pirates played in Boca Raton this year when they played USF during the weekend after the hurricane. The Frisco Bowl in Frisco, Texas, which is really a cool place to see a football game, home of the Cowboys down there. The Duluth Trading Cure Bowl in Orlando, Florida, and there is a contingent from Florida that think that was a big chance for East Carolina. I mean, I talked to Ron Dowdy, and he was saying that they had a whole group of folks that were trying to lure East Carolina to come down there and trying to get with the Cure folks, and I don't know where that stands now, but at least that was a possibility. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, as you said, Conway, South Carolina for that one, and the New Mexico Bowl in Albuquerque. Now, most likely, and you can't say anything's for definite, but most likely the Pirates would not be in the Mexico Bowl because of the fact that this thing is also kind of regionalized, because they want fans to go. Now, obviously, the Hawaii Bowl is a different animal, but they want fans to try to be able to go. I have heard that I think Melissa, my wife, told me that the plane tickets for Boston were very similar from Pitt, Greenville, and Raleigh, so you can fly out either place for almost the same price. I don't think they were really that expensive. Of course, as we get closer to Christmas, they may go up, like everything else is going up right now. But there you have it. The first ever Wasabi Fenway Bowl is what we're betting on right now, if you're a betting man. But like I said, this thing can change, and can change quickly, can't it?
It really can. I mean, last year I didn't think we were. Early on, I thought we were going to go to the Military Bowl, and then I'd heard we weren't. And then, we after the Cincinnati game, which was the last game of the year, boom, there it was. It was out there, and we had an announcement, 2 days later, because the Military Bowl wanted us. They knew we were going to travel. It was a good matchup, a place that we were familiar with. Just got a win earlier that year at Navy. I believe that was the game-winning field goal.
It was a 54-yarder from Owen Daffer.
So, we were very familiar with it. And again, hadn't been to a bowl in a while, so Coach Houston and the university administration were like, let's go. It's a bowl. We know we got it. start preparing for it and going. And unfortunately, we weren't able to play that game.
Yeah, and you look back to the Military Bowl. I think the guys, the organizers there did a pretty nice job with it. They had it very well organized. I think they had, the Pirates had a great hotel where they were staying at. The coaches and their wives and their families were, basically Santa Claus had to come to the hotel. I mean, that's what they had to do because, the ones with young families. But I think the hotel did a nice job with trying to keep all that together because it's tough, especially for those coaches and the staff and that kind of thing because what Christmas is all about family. And now with Zooms and with FaceTime and stuff like that, you can at least, be on. In fact, a story, I think I told it when I got back, but we were at practice on Christmas Day. The Pirates were just arriving. I had already gotten there, and I was talking to my daughter Caitlin and my grandson, who was 2 at the time, Luke. And so he had me on the FaceTime, and we were talking. Coach Houston walks by, and Coach Houston says, "Merry Christmas." And I said, "Luke, that's head coach Mike Houston." And he grabs the phone, and he says, "Hey, Luke, how you doing, buddy? Merry Christmas to you." Yeah, and my daughter thought that. She said, "Nobody will understand what a great thing that was. I wish I could have recorded it and had it forever, but it was cool. I mean, it was nice that Coach Houston took the time to say that and to do that, and he was in a great mood that whole week because if you remember, the Pirates had great practices the whole bowl week. I mean, they were like a fine, tuned machine. They were out there and they had awesome practices, and just standing around, you can kind of tell the difference in a good practice and a bad practice, even if you don't know it.
Fortunately, I wasn't able to get up there. I left the day after Christmas on the 26th and just going to be up there for one night, game and come back. And we were on a bus with 7 people, and Dr. Arman was on there as well. And so we get up, we start traveling, we're going up, through Virginia and all like that. And I kind of, dozed off a little bit and then woke up and I see Dr. Arman talking to the bus driver. And you can kind of hear him say, "Yeah, there's an off ramp here. You can take that right," and then start heading back. Well, he comes walking. I look at him. I said, "Please don't tell me." He goes, "Yep." He said, "It'll be official in about 20 minutes. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I was on the bus for 6 hours, went to Virginia and came back and did nothing.
Oh. Well, I tell you, my story was I got up early that morning and went to the Pirates were going to practice in Annapolis, have a walkthrough in Annapolis that morning. So I went to Annapolis early and found this great breakfast place and got me a nice breakfast. I thought this is going to be awesome. Wait for the Pirates to get here. And so a family behind me had Pirate stuff on, and they said, "Excuse me, Miss Babb, have you heard the game's canceled?" I said, "No, that can't be right. I just left the hotel." And they said, "Well, you better check your Twitter." Yeah. And it started to, the rumors were out there on Twitter. I don't think at the time it had been definite yet. So it was like mad trying to call and make sure. And it was bad.
And as we turned around and come back, I got on the phone and called Tom McClellan, my boss, and he was driving up separately. So I called him. I said, "Hey, I'm hearing that the game's been canceled." And I say hearing meaning because we just did a U-turn and we're coming back to Greenville. He goes, "Yes, I just got off the phone." He goes, "They're going to be doing a Zoom here in a few minutes. Can you get on the Zoom and record it, make sure all the media has it and things like that?" It's like, "Sure, so as long as I got signal." Sure enough, as soon as it started, I couldn't get a signal at all on the bus Wi-Fi, my personal Wi-Fi hotspot, nothing. I was like, well, somebody else will get it. But yeah, it happened literally that quick. Tom was in the process of packing the car, and he got the phone call from, I think, either Ryan or John Gilbert, and they said, "Yep, it's been canceled, so let's get a release ready," and all like that. And just like that, it turned that quickly.
And the Pirate players and the coaching staff got on the bus and went over to the White House to try to get some pictures before they left. And so I had to come back from Annapolis. If you know the distance there, even with traffic and everything, it was 40, 45 minutes, close to an hour. Got back and then had to go downtown D.C. trying to find a big Pirate bus. Yeah. And finally I saw it, and I parked illegally and ran up. And I had a bag and my camera, and I remember I dropped the bag, picked the camera up. I saw Coach Houston. I got a great soundbite with him talking about how disappointing it was. Right. I got Holt Nailers, got a couple other quick players, and then a couple of guys came up to me, and they go, "Hey, Mr. Bailey, security was getting ready to take this bag." And we told them it was ours, so they wouldn't take it. So the Secret Service was out there. They were going to take my bag, and it was going to be confiscated. I would have been really up the creek if that had happened, but thankfully.
Well, that right there just shows you how quick things can turn. And like yourself, you're planning a day to be at the field, and then something haywire goes. Imagine, if you're Jake Kirkendall, who's in charge of getting everybody to where they need to be,
right?
And something changes on a dime like that, and how hectic it was for you. He's doing it for all the players, the coaches, the buses. He's got to be able to change things on a whim. So a guy like that, and Ryan McManus, who helps out as well. Those guys got thankless jobs because it's a grind every day for them.
They're kind of like a referee in football. If you don't know anything about the referee, you don't hear from them. They did their job. Things are good, and that's how those guys are because they don't want a bus to be late. They don't want, and some of the things out of their control.
Absolutely.
Because I know we had to wait coming back from Provo? Coming back from Provo, we had to wait for about like an hour and a half.
Provo, we did. Cincinnati, we had to.
Yeah, so there was and there was nothing they could do. Those guys do a great job, and they get you on that plane quickly, off that plane quickly. I mean, they just do an incredible job. All right, we've got breaking news from the American about the players of the week. So we're going to go to commercial break. We'll come back with that. Malcolm Gray is my guest. We're going to talk about the Pirate football season, have some more bowl thoughts, take your questions, comments on our Facebook Live feed. Back with more on this Victory Monday on the Brian Bailey Show right after this.
Hi, this is Jeff Charles, and this is a Pirate Radio Sports Break presented by Ron Ayers Motorsports, Highway 11, north of the airport in Greenville. The college football coaching carousel is spinning. Luke Fickell is the new head coach at Wisconsin, leaving Cincinnati. Matt Rule takes over at Nebraska after being fired this fall as the Carolina Panthers head coach. Arizona State has hired 32-year-old Kenny Dillingham. David Shaw has resigned after 12 seasons at Stanford. Willie Taggart has been fired at FAU. Tulsa has fired Philip Montgomery after 8 seasons and a 43-53 record. Tulsa finished 5-7 this year. Last year, the Golden Hurricane went 7-6 and won the Myrtle Beach Bowl. And Tim Lester is out at Western Michigan. The Panthers yesterday posted a 23-10 win over the Broncos. Sam Darnold was 11 of 19 for 164 yards and a TD. Deontay Freeman ran for 113 yards on 24 carries. The Panthers are now 4-8 on the season. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelch and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop.
I'm Donald Stocks, owner of PIP Marketing Signs Print. We are your one-stop shop for just about anything printed. If we're not your go-to printer, please give us a call at 355-1636. We have over 80 5-star Google reviews and want you to be our next more than satisfied and well-pleased customer. Check us out at growatpip.com or stop in to see us at 3185 Mosley Drive in Greenville. PIP, where business goes to grow.
Seared Chop House is Greenville's only true chop house. We're open 7 days a week. Seared combines a remarkable menu with an unrivaled atmosphere. Lunch or dinner at Seared is a quality-driven experience where we highlight a thoughtful approach to locally sourced ingredients and hearty, flavor-rich cuisine. We're firing up the grill at Seared, Greenville's only true chop house, located on Fire Tower Road at Bells Fork. Come see us at Seared 7 days a week.
Hey Pirate Nation, Lindsay Gray here with Carolina Caliber. In 1960, my granddaddy started his firearm business right here in Eastern NC. Still family owned and operated, we have the area's largest selection for outdoor shooting sports and accessories and are one of the nation's top firearm dealers. At Carolina Caliber, we have everything you need from hunting, home defense, and personal protection, including a wide variety for ladies and youth. We buy, sell, and trade. It's a time-honored tradition. Visit us at Carolina Caliber on Fire Tower Road in Winterville.
This is Amanda Houston, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. Go Pirates!
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community owned, community powered. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. Whew. I turned around and all I saw were 3 empty chairs. I mean, everybody was gone. Y'all get paid for the whole hour, don't you?
We're back.
Whew, man. I didn't even notice y'all were gone. I came back, I turned the mic on, I said, welcome back on this Victory Monday. I was like, I don't hear anything. So I looked to my right, and there's all these 3 empty chairs. But we're back now. Everybody's back. Malcolm didn't leave us.
Nope.
True professional.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you didn't leave us.
I'm not going to go anywhere.
Malcolm Gray, assistant AD at East Carolina Media Relations. We talked about the current bowl situation. We will know more coming up by Sunday for sure, and hopefully we'll know a little bit more as information becomes available. Stephen Igo just tweeted out an interesting projection from Sports Illustrated. Malcolm, what was it?
He said Boca Raton Bowl, Eastern Michigan versus Eastern Carolina.
The Eastern Bowl.
Yeah.
That's from Stephen Igo from Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated. That's what their just most recent projection is out.
Okay, the American naming Josiah Hatfield the special teams player of the week this week. Good for Josiah. What a great return for that touchdown.
Oh man, he had a great game, and you could see, leading up over the last couple games, once he got back from his hamstring injury, that he has the explosiveness to be able to break one. He just needed to get everything to fall into place, and the first kick return he had that game was like 48 yards or something like that, and then they started kicking it to Maceo Donald or Jamoni Wilson, and they weren't kicking it deep. And then finally, in the second half, they decided to kick one deep, and he took it 97 yards to the house, and it's the first time since I think 2020. Tyler Snead did that same thing in Temple as well. So great for him, and he got a great honor.
I asked Josiah after the game about the return, and I said, we almost saw it in the first return. And I said it was kind of like a little hint of things to come. And he smiled. And he said, well, I told the coaches, I said, we got to go back to that same return because I think I can break it. And he said that the Temple kickoff wasn't exactly the same, but it ended up being okay that he could return it from the 3-yard line. And I'm telling you what, man, I said, what'd you see on it? He said, all I saw was guys blocking for me and lots of green grass.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they did a great job on that kick return coverage and everything. And I think if you go back and look, you'll see number 42, Jamoni Wilson, is right beside him, stride for stride, and that kick and run too for a big guy. And yeah, he was following his blocker. He was following Jamoni, and Jamoni would weave back in, just to get in front of somebody so they couldn't make a tackle. But it ends up being a real pivotal play of the game for the Pirates.
Oh yeah, because Pirates would need each and every point.
Yeah, they did.
A game came down, and we're going to go through the entire schedule. But while we're on the Temple game came down. Temple had the football after the long touchdown for East Carolina. Temple had the football 3rd and 1 at about midfield, and they threw a pass over the middle that was knocked down.
Right.
So that set up 4th and 1. And I really thought, especially with a losing record, and Temple didn't have anything to lose, that they were going to go for it. And it's hard to stop. I don't care what team it is. It's hard to stop a team on 4th and 1, 4th and inches, whatever it is. But they decided to punt the football away, and I just thought, man, that's.
It was interesting because they forced ECU to use a timeout. So because ECU had 2 at that time, now they have 1, and then they decided to punt it. And great job by Malik Fleming to get the punt. And I think he got like 6-7 yards, so it kept us basically about the 18 to 22 yard line. And then right from there, you just saw Keaton Mitchell, 12 yards this way, Holt Naylor's dunk this way, and ECU just methodically went down the field. And in that last play, I'm sitting on the by the ECU's bench, and where where the tunnel is, and I'm sitting there watching, and I see this open field. I'm like, hey, good. Holt Naylors can run for it, get a first down. We still got a timeout, still a minute 20 left to go. And then all of a sudden, I see him throw across his body, and I'm watching a jumbo screen. And I'm like, no. I was like, how did he catch the ball? How did he know to look there? It was amazing. It was really cool.
Yeah, and it was the 3rd and 1 and the 4th and 1, and instead of going for, you win the game right there if you get the conversion. So you punt it away. Holton comes, and that drive was very reminiscent of the North Carolina State game because Keaton Mitchell had a couple of plays in that deal, and he was able to make some things happen. And then Holton told me he said he rolled out and he saw him open early. and he got a little pressure, so he kept rolling. Then he saw him open late, and he heaved that ball. I mean, he heaved it, and it came down right about where I was at. And I thought, man, and Jalen just ran right under it like an outfielder, basically.
Yes. Yeah, it was a great play. And again, Holton being left-handed, running to his left, but he threw it across his body and across the field. That was a hell of a play, and that's why he's been a good quarterback for us, and he's got hopefully a bright future moving forward.
You see, Keaton Mitchell was honorable mention. We don't understand how that works out, but Keaton had over 200 yards rushing. He's had 6 consecutive 100-yard-plus games, over 1,000 yards for the season. He's going to go down as one of the best, and maybe go down as the best running back in East Carolina football history. I mean, if he stays the whole time, I mean, he's got a chance, a great chance. He should.
Yeah, he does. He's got 7 100-yard games on the season, 14 for his career, which is third most. I think Leonard Henry is one ahead of him, or is it Carlos Crumpler? It's Carlos Crumpler Sr. is one ahead of him. Junior Smith is 2. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's got the most 15-yard runs there is in the country by an FBS player with 29. I think he's got the most 20-plus yard runs in the country. A guy who can do it all. He's small, shifty, and obviously I'm not saying something everybody doesn't know because they've seen him play for 2 years. But, man, he's so small, and when he gets a hole and he gets free, watch out. You can't catch him because the kid can run.
And he's got so much patience.
Yes.
I think that's what's been the big key. I think the Pirate offensive line has had a good year. Don't get me wrong. I think Coach Shank's done a great job with those guys. But I think that his patience has really helped that offensive line because he gets behind those big fellas, and then he sees the smallest crease, and he blasts right through, and next thing you know, he's got 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 yards. And I'm telling you what, man, now he didn't get hit as hard this game as he did the last 2, but he's gotten some big-time hits this year.
He has, and, you think about it, I think he's 1,300 yards on the season, and and he's basically didn't play 2 games if you look at it. If you take about the quarters or the halves that he's been out,
right,
it's basically been 10 games that he's done this in, and that's crazy. I mean, that's 130 yards that he's averaging on the ground. I mean, if you throw in, what he's doing receiving-wise and had that 73-yard receiving TD on that weird play. But, he's a great kid. He loves ECU. There's no doubt about it. But, what he's been able to do this year, he should be a first-team all-conference player, and how he didn't get conference player this week. Only thing I can think of is, the running back from Tulane had 178 yards versus Cincinnati's defense. But, and they also won at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati hadn't, lost in 32 straight games.
But it shows you the slimmest margin. I mean, East Carolina had Cincinnati on the ropes. I mean, so you look at the schedule. Now, I want to go through and touch on some of the games. We may not have time to go through all of them, but when you think back to the NC State game, and I know most people are going to come back and think about the kicking problems at the end, but the thing I'll never forget about that game, along with those issues, is the goal line stand the Pirates put up in that fourth quarter. I mean, that's what championship teams are made of, and that's the moment that I thought, hey, this team could be special because they did a great job with that.
They did. I think it was 1st and goal from the 3-yard line, and NC State did not get a single yard. It might have gone up a yard and then went back a yard, but that last play when the running back was running right and Julius Wood just came through that hole and hit him. I mean, you could hear it, up in the press box with the ref mic or the crowd feed. He absolutely destroyed that running back. And you're right, that right there kind of turned the game. And then, ECU went down, if I'm not mistaken. I think they went down and scored on that drive. So, there's a lot, you look back on the season, there's lots of things that you can pick out, good, bad, and the ugly, type deal. And that's definitely one of the best ones because if you look at ECU's rush defense, I think it's top 30 in the country. They force turnovers. And here's the thing, we were talking about it after the game. How about ECU hadn't had a turnover in 6 straight games?
That's crazy.
I need to go back and see the last time that happened because I think it's been a while.
That's unbelievable, really, because you think about, the old coaching adage is that when you throw the football, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad.
Yeah.
But, no interceptions, no fumbles.
And I saw another stat. Me and Steve and Igo were talking about it the other day. He showed me something on Pro Football Focus. How about Keaton Mitchell in his career?
Don't say it. Don't say it. We got a bowl game to play. Wait until after the bowl game.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's
all
out
right, go ahead
there.
and say it.
No, you told me not to, but you know where I'm going. But that just shows
he hasn't had a miscue carrying the football.
Correct. Yeah, that's it. And, it is what it is. It's a stat. People look at it. People have been talking about it, but I didn't really think about it until someone mentioned it to me. But,
And there are lots of running backs that are great that don't fumble very often, but sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. If a defender puts their helmet on the football, you're going to lose it, no matter how good you are.
Yeah, and Julius Wood has been really good at that.
Yes.
Julius Wood, I think, ranks 9th in the nation in forced fumbles, and I think he has 3 or 4 on the season. So that just goes to show you, I mean, even if you're holding it correctly, you're doing everything correctly, you get in there, head up, bite the ball, hit and drive. That's what I was always taught. And, the ball can come loose, and he's done a great job.
Malcolm Gray, our guest. We got a couple commercial breaks to get in, so we'll take a commercial break right now. We'll come back. We'll continue on. You guys stay put back there. Back with more after this.
The Angus Grill is your premier spot for the best burgers, cheesesteaks, and brisket sandwiches around. Join us for our unmatched variety of burger combinations. From the mushroom bacon Swiss burger to the jalapeno popper burger to the original Angus classic. Pair that burger with our amazing onion rings, tots, fries, or sweet potato fries. Angus Grill, with 4 amazing locations in eastern North Carolina, including Winterville near Pitt Community College, on Jarvis Street in uptown Greenville, and on Statensburg Road near the hospital. It's the best burger around, guaranteed.
Hi, I'm Ken Hagler of Taft Hagler. We're proud to be sponsors of the Brian Bailey Show and the Pirate Nation on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. If you've been injured on the job or due to someone else's negligence in an automobile collision, call us at 752-2000 for a free consultation with experienced professionals who care. Go Pirates!
It's bow time. You've probably heard folks say, don't call it a comeback. But at Bojangles, we don't like to beat around the bush. So when the sizzling, savory pork chop griller's back in all its tender, marinated chili lime glory, and you can get a pork chop griller combo for just $4.59, go ahead, call it a comeback. Get a legendary pork chop griller combo for just $4.59, only at Bojangles. It's bow time.
'Tis the season for connection, and U.S. Cellular is celebrating by offering any phone free for everyone, any brand, any storage, for new and current customers. Plus, our price protection guarantee means that your rates won't go up. That's locally grown connection. Limited time offer, terms apply. Visit us in-store or online for details on getting any phone free today.
You've been waiting all year to replace your old phone, and now the Christmas deals are finally here. The team at Sailor Warehouse is loaded up with free phones for everyone. That's right, free, baby. Don't wait, because these deals won't last long. Call Toby Williams today at 252-799-7051 and let one of their experienced sales associates come right to your office or home. Sailor Warehouse, your local U.S. Sailor authorized agent. The only agents that deliver phones, tablets, and routers right to your front door. Do you ever talk to yourself about where to eat today, and then you hear,
Warren's Hot Dogs.
Then you're thinking, yeah, 2 hot dogs, chips, and a drink for only $6.25 would be awesome.
Warren's Hot Dogs.
And maybe some homemade lemonade, perhaps a pizza or a sub, and definitely an apple or peach turnover.
Warren's Hot Dogs.
Don't overthink where to eat today. Go to Warren's Hot Dogs in Greenville across from Ron Ayers or in Chocowinity next to the fire station. Warren's Hot Dogs, serving the Pirate Nation since 1991. Go Pirates!
This is Mike Houston, head football coach at East Carolina University, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community-owned utilities mean local control, low rates, and high reliability. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Malcolm Gray from Media Relations in East Carolina is our guest. We've talked bowls. We've talked some of the early season, the NC State game. I think back to the Old Dominion and the Campbell game, and I always remember what Coach Ruff said. He said, you lose a tough one. He said, you try losing that Old Dominion or that Campbell game and see where you're at. And so I think that's the same same thing East Carolina was thinking with Coach Houston was, hey, we gotta find a way to win those games, and the Pirates were able to win both of those contests. Navy came to town, probably one of the most disappointing losses. I think Navy and Houston will go down as the two most disappointing losses for East Carolina. In the Navy game, Pirates had the football ready to go win it. Holton threw the pick. Navy won it in double overtime, and another kicking issue as far as that goes. But when you're playing in a conference and you have aspirations for a conference championship, and you lose that first conference game against a team that you're favored to beat, that's a real gut punch, isn't it?
It is, and it makes you have to refocus real quickly. And the good things that you did in that game, even if you might have lost, are definitely outweighed by the one or two plays that kind of cost you the game. But yeah, it's always hard trying to play from behind the eight ball, and unfortunately, that's the way it started out with that loss against Navy.
Pirates then traveled to Boca Raton. That was the weekend of the hurricane. I'll never forget that one because it was raining cats and dogs here in Greenville, and I remember the folks with the airlines had come and said, okay, you guys can go on out there. So it's pouring rain. Jeff Charles and myself and about 4 or 5 others, we go running out there. We get up to the top of the steps, and the lady's like, no, you can't come on yet. We don't have our crew up here. You can't go on. And Jeff looked at him and was like, well, lady, I'm going to go over here and stay dry and do what you want to. So I followed Jeff, and then we stood right there, and everybody else that was behind us had to go all the way down the steps. And
that was me. I was one of those. Yeah, I was absolutely drenched on that one.
It was crazy. But we didn't, we only went where they told us to go. Yeah. And then they told us to go all the way up the steps, and it didn't work out so well, did it? But we got down to Boca Raton. It was great weather. That was the C.J. Johnson show. He had a couple of great one-on-ones, and he beat out the defender. Great catches there. One of the biggest days of the year for East Carolina as the Pirates would roll by South Florida 48-20. That's the one that we said something to Coach Houston about holding on, and he's like, we won by 20. We thought about holding on. But they were way up in that game and really played well. The Tulane trip to New Orleans, always a great trip. You get to go to the Big Easy. I remember walking down and seeing some of the French Quarter that morning before. The Pirates stay in a great hotel right there by the Riverwalk there. And Tulane was really a good football team. I think back to that game, the Pirates were down 14-9, and the Pirates had the football at the Tulane 26 or 27, and Holton had a receiver that was open for a second, but I think it was a late pass, and Tulane got the interception, and that was pretty much the rest of the game right there.
Yeah, and if you now fast forward, from that game to what you're seeing is good, happen this past weekend, Tulane is a real good football team. I mean, they got one loss, maybe two, but 2 losses, one in the conference, and they're playing for a conference championship, first time ever. They're hosting, and then they got Central Florida, UCF that they're going to be playing. So that's going to be a great game. So you can actually see that they ended up being a really good team, and they have a really good defense.
The Pirates season kind of hinged right there with the Memphis, the UCF, and then the away game at BYU. Pirates played their best football in that series of games, beating Memphis in 4 overtimes.
Wow. Crazy.
That had so many ebbs and flows in the game. You kind of felt like when it was over with, you were like drained, mentally drained, physically drained. I mean, and didn't even play in the game.
Yeah, and I know you and I were, because they kept flipping the fields, and you and I were walking side by side down to the the east end zone to west end zone, back and forth. But the Pirates were able to pull that one out.
That's when I decided to go right down the middle of the field. I'm not going around that bench. I'm going to go right down the middle. Pirates won at 47-45. The highlight of the season was the big win over UCF, because the Pirates were dominant. The painted black game, and East Carolina just dominated a UCF team that will play for the American Championship coming up this weekend. But that was no contest. East Carolina was the much, much better team in that game.
Yeah, no doubt. If I'm not mistaken, I think they ran 8 plays on offense in the first quarter, and that was it. I mean, ECU just methodically, they got a pick. I think there was a fumble, and ECU controlled it, and I think we had in that game maybe 3 touchdown drives that went like 7+ minutes. I mean, that I talked with Coach Houston, the following week, and I said, Coach, I didn't realize that. He goes, yeah. I said, well, I guess the game plan was to keep it out of their offensive hands. He goes, you absolutely believe it. That's exactly what it was.
Pirates then went to Provo, Utah, and I still just can't believe. I've always heard people say how places are beautiful, and you have to see it to believe it. And I believe, some of the places I've been that Melissa's gotten me to go to on vacation and stuff, those are just tropical places that are beautiful. You have to see them in person. But Provo, Utah, you have to go and see. That is just, it's like a postcard. You're walking around the town, and it's like a postcard, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and that's a trip I'll never forget.
Yeah, it was a great trip. Obviously we got the win, but that place is loud. It's beautiful. Just sitting in the press box, you look out and all you see is the mountains, the white caps at the top of the mountains, and it was chilly. And then what's really weird is how loud it gets, because the stadium's basically kind of cut into the mountain, and it's lower, and man, it was loud, and it was really good atmosphere, and we were able to pick up a win there.
That was a huge win when you come down to bowl eligibility. And East Carolina was bowl eligible after that victory. The Cincinnati game, I think when you look at it, Pirates lost 27-25 on the road on a Friday night. Very disappointing because the Pirates really felt like they were in a position to win. I think when you look back on it, there were some questionable calls. The last play of the game, CJ's over the middle, and he lost an arm on the deal, and there was no call. And I think when you looked at that, and you never want one loss to turn into two, but I think that, when you look, there's no rhyme or reason that the Pirates lost to Houston 42-3. Nothing about that makes any sense, because you've seen the same football team out there, the same players, the same guys, and it didn't make any sense when I was watching it. It still doesn't make any sense, and I think that's just a great instance where one loss did turn into two.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Coach Houston has said multiple times that it was probably a hangover effect, and and you hear people in the media and everybody talking, well, they were already bowl eligible once they knew that they couldn't win the conference championship. All these things led to one to another, and they were still mathematically alive for if they would have won that Houston game. But you're right, they absolutely dominated Cincinnati, other than the kickoff return, and they had those two long touchdown passes. Absolutely dominated them on every statistical front that you can think of. There was a play that Keaton got knocked out. I think that was a cheap shot.
That was a horrible play.
And so he was gone. So then all of a sudden you lose your running attack a little bit. And then, a couple calls, especially, the one you're referring to was CJ over the middle, where he got robbed and nobody, they didn't do anything. If I'm not mistaken, I think they probably threw the flag and they picked it up, which, I don't understand, but this year that's happened a lot for ECU. And I've seen it in college football, but definitely a lot for ECU, where there's been a lot of flags thrown, and all of a sudden we just pick them up. There's no PIs or anything like that. So that's got to be frustrating.
There was a frustrating play in the Temple game where I think CJ was running down the sideline. I was standing right there. The referee threw the flag, and I thought, that's a great call, because he's hindering his ability to get to the football, and then they picked it up. I just don't understand who comes out and says, hey, that's really not passing. Even though you think you saw it, you threw your flag, I'm going to talk you out of it.
The crazy thing, if you go back and look, so the guy downfield is the one that threw the flag. Instead of talking to the white hat, the head referee, he talked to the line judge, and the line judge said no, it wasn't, and so he just picked it up. I think at that point you have to go to the head referee and ask his opinion. But it's also, he probably didn't see it, and the other guy did, or he didn't see it apparently. But it's it was crazy, and that could have been a big turning point in the game too. Then.
And then, of course, the game came down. East Carolina got the football back very late in the game, and Holton Ahlers hit Jalen Johnson. Was it a minute 11 to play when they connected? So and the defense, as maligned as it was, has as many problems they had all day long. They had to make a stop, and they were able to do that at the very end. And that's, sometimes you have a bend but don't break defense, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. And another reason that they probably went for it, or they decided to punt instead of go for a 4th and 1. I think if you go back, look at how our defense has played in the short yardage this year and how tough and stingy it is. Maybe that was something.
It may have.
It could have been something, but I would think you would go for it right then there just to be on the safe side.
All right. Luckily for East Carolina, the Pirates were able to prevail 49-46 in the season finale, 7-5, and headed to a bowl game. We're going to wrap things up with Malcolm Gray coming up. This is our last commercial break, and then we'll be back, and we'll have some final bowl thoughts after this.
All All anniversaries are special, but because it's Bostic Sugg Furniture's 85th anniversary extravaganza, we packed a lot into our big extravaganza with not one, not two, but 3 ways to save. Extra 10% off plus $19.37 local delivery plus 6 months special financing on all in-stock and custom orders. Change your mattress, change your life, and get 48 months special financing during the big 85th anniversary extravaganza on now at Bostic Sugg Furniture.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best. Everybody loves burgers.
Your vehicle is a big part of your life. That's why you should trust the team at Greenville Auto World for all your vehicle needs. Greenville Auto World believes in fair prices, superior service, and treating customers right. Visit greenvilleautoworld.net to see their fully stocked inventory of SUVs, trucks, and cars. Need a lift kit, custom rims, or wheels? Greenville Auto World can upgrade your vehicle today. For sales or service, visit Greenville Auto World on Highway 43 in Greenville.
The Rick House is Eastern North Carolina's premier American-style restaurant and bourbon bar with daily specials. And here's the lineup. Mondays feature $7 margaritas and half-price appetizers. Tuesday is stuffed seafood night. Wednesday is date night. Thursday is roasted smoked lamb chop night. Fridays is prime rib night. And Saturday is Italian night and is also Fred and Wilma night with our 36-ounce bone-in tomahawk steak just like the Flintstones. And on Sunday, it's our legendary brunch from 10 to 2. The Rick House, American Provisions and Spirits, 710 Red Banks Road beside the bowling alley in Greenville.
Be sure to check out David Price Construction for all of your commercial or custom residential renovation and building needs. Run by ECU alumni, David Price Construction specializes in commercial projects, maintenance on facilities, and large-scale residential renovations and additions. Proud to be voted the Remodeler of the Year by the Home Builders Association of Raleigh-Wake County in 2018 and Best Business Commercial Remodel Project winner for 2020. David Price Construction, the proud ECU Home Services partner.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
This is Jeremy Lewis, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, working for our community, not for shareholders. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. I want to wish the best of luck to New Bern's Bears, to Wallace Rose Hills Bulldogs, East Duplins Panthers, Charborough's Vikings as they continue on play in the East Regional Finals coming up on Friday night. Next week will be the state championships. We feel pretty good that Charborough will probably play in the 1A state championship. We know East Duplin or Wallace Rose Hill, the winner there is going to play in the 2A state championship, and New Bern continues their role, so they could be in the 4A state championship. Chapel Hill and Raleigh are the two sites for that, so best of luck to those teams. Next week we're going to talk hopefully with a bowl representative from whichever bowl the Pirates are going to. So we're going to work on that through Malcolm, try to get Coach Houston on for a few minutes maybe to talk about what he thinks about the matchup. As we said earlier in the show, my gut feeling is the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. I thought it was going to be Duke at first. Now the word is it could be Syracuse, but none of that's official. All of that is just people kind of guessing, like myself, like Malcolm, and we all just kind of think, we take all the stats and everything we see and we kind of go from there. So keep your eye on social media. Of course, as soon as something breaks, Pirate Radio will have it out, as we will too at WNCT TV. So looking forward to the bowl game. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, these kids deserve it. You know, back-to-back 7-win seasons, back-to-back bowls, bowl eligibility first time since 12 and 13. It's been a great season. We've had a lot of, had a lot of highs, a couple of lows. great individual performances. We just, let them continue one more week, and then we can sit back and reflect and say, hey, this was a hell of a season. So just got to go get that win to close it out.
Pirates are off this week. Most of the coaching staff and all the players off for most of the entire. I think Coach Houston said it in the locker room. They were celebrating. Because hey, we're off this week. So they're trying to heal up and get ready for the bowl game. But that'll be a lot of fun. So hang on for that. That's our show for today. We'll see you back here next week on the Brian Bailey Show.
You've been listening to the Bud Light pregame tailgate, powered by Bud Light. This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250.